Jonathan with Iron Mind Hypnosis here. I I want to talk a little bit about building a social network around yourself. Now, I've talked before about the fairly disturbing Werther effect and how negative um, social influence can be if things are set up wrong. And social influence is one of these things that is so stealthy. Almost everyone believes that it does not act on them. But if you look at people's behavior, they behave very, very much like their social set. Now, when you're in a social group, you act like that group in broad strokes. And your attention is typically on how you differentiate yourself from the people in your group. But from somebody outside the group, you probably talk the same way, use the same sorts of words, probably dress similarly. You might have picked the same type of vehicle. Oh, of course, yours is a different color or a different trim level, or you've got some feature or difference or something like that. But for people on the outside, they they see you picking a car based on the same things, the same considerations, broad strokes that other people do. Um, Perhaps the type of work you're in is something that is influenced by your peer group. Maybe it's your bank account balance. Maybe it's your income. Those are different. Uh, Maybe it's the vacations you take. Maybe it's the the romantic life that you have. If all of these things can be influenced completely stealthily from your perspective by the people you are around, the people that are in your social circle, are you doomed to live as your social circle lives? Are you born into a socioeconomic state and stuck there? Well, for many people, that looks like the reality. They're born into a certain situation or a certain circumstance hits them, and they've got nothing to say about it, nothing they can do. If they're being mistreated, they're being mistreated. If things are going well, that's fantastic. If if there's violence going on and it's directed at them, or their causes require them to direct it at others, they're either going to give or receive, or probably both, given how violence works. Violence. If if the economy is working well for them, it's working well. But there's only so much they can do that isn't being seen in their social group. So are we doomed? Like, are we just, what's the point? Well, here's the thing. Lots of people, thousands and thousands of people, every year change. Now, it's true that for most people going to college, um, college is something that other people in their their family have gone through. It's just a coming of age. And for other people, nobody in their family has gone through this coming of age. I mean, it takes 4 years. Very many people in colleges and universities have imposter syndrome, where they don't believe that they're good enough to be in that class, whether it's in the university overall or in the university that they're in, or in the department or the field that they're in. Perhaps they have managed to sneak into the physics department, and apparently nobody noticed that they should have not been allowed in the physics department because they don't feel their math or physics skills are up to the chops. I imagine that sort of thing can happen with folks in music department as well, where they love the music, but they're looking around going, I'm not these other people. These other people are just amazing, and I'm having a lot more trouble in this. I imagine that plays out in every department of a large university. There's quite a lot of departments. But if that's what you might be experiencing, then how does it make sense that a very large fraction of other people are experiencing this? And in fact, from situations where people have reached out when they're feeling this imposter syndrome, like they never they don't fit in, and they probably never will. Some universities have actually, some departments have started a tradition where the either a senior class or the senior class will send notes, or in some cases it'll be a note that gets passed down year after year. Sometimes it's video recordings reminding the incoming class that it's perfectly natural to feel out of your depth, to feel like you don't belong here, like you snuck in and somebody at admissions should have stopped you. That is perfectly natural. That's perfectly normal to feel that way. And in fact, everybody who got through this felt that way at some point or other. And when you realize that this feeling of imposter syndrome is just a thing that everybody goes through, well, one amazing thing is that that thing alone almost completely obliterated the racial divide in college success in one study, which is pretty mind blowing. That all the socioeconomic factors that for a lifetime could have kept people apart, or did keep people apart. A lifetime of different experiences and results, typically different. But just reminding people that, look, just because you don't feel at home here, like this doesn't feel right, and maybe this is not your place. Just because you feel that way doesn't mean that you're not welcome here. It doesn't mean that you are not, that everybody else isn't feeling the same way, because if not everybody, very many people are feeling that way. And probably, if not constantly, then at least some of the time. But why am I talking about this? Because when you choose your social group, when you choose to step out of your old roles to a new group, at first, you're not going to know a lot of stuff. People are going to be talking about stuff that you didn't even think was interesting to you. It's fine to say that, by the way. If you don't understand this, be nice, but like, how does this work with me? Like, why is this important? Um, like, don't just let your eyes glaze over unless it's a place where you really have to do that. But when you go and select new people to be around, whether that's like a business networking thing, whether it's a social group, one of these community service organizations, whether you've just picked people that you admire, that have traits that you respect, whether that be, I was talking before about people who are very peaceful, people who move through their lives in a way that their peace is something that you respect. Or maybe it's people who are very powerful, who move through their life in a powerful way. People who have a certain efficiency or a certain direction that they're going. And you've found a way to either be part of this person's group or create a group around you or whatever it is. It's okay to feel like this isn't the thing you normally do and maybe you shouldn't be doing it. It's okay to have that feeling. It's okay to think, I'm not sure that I belong with these people who are better off in whatever way it is. Whether it's I'm hanging around with people who have healthy relationships, and I don't think that's me. Or you're hanging around with people who are better at money than you, and you're like, I don't think that these sorts of, like, I don't think I'm there yet. It's okay to not be there yet. That's perfectly fine to feel like you don't belong, to feel like you're an imposter sitting in other people's group. Or maybe that you're an imposter and you've created a group that you probably don't belong in. All of these things are fine. They happen to most everybody at some point, especially when making big moves in your life, making big changes. I'm sharing all of this, so that you know that you can actually use one of the biggest, sneakiest influence tactics on yourself. That social proof I talked about, where you see people doing things and you act a little bit like them. Go find people that you want to emulate. And it's fine if at first you can only find small ways to emulate them, or you can only have small reminders of them. Some people recommend finding people that they really admire and getting a picture of them so they can think about this person as they get ready for their day. If that's where you start, fine, glorious. And just know that if you look at that person and some days they inspire you, perfect. And some days you're like, what was I doing? I picked a millionaire or a billionaire. Like they're super great, but I'm not them. That's fine. So long as you realize that it's fine to have that feeling from time to time. It's fine to have that there is a gap feeling. So long as you're okay with it. Now, if you're experiencing that gap as suffering, then maybe, maybe that's not the right role model for you. Find someone a little more relatable. That's fine too. You want to be gaining power from this influence for whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. Whether it's a peaceful influence, a powerful influence, a sense of wisdom, whatever it is you admire in these other people. Even if you can only start it as a picture of them in on your wall, screensaver, um, just a little reminder, or you've actually found a way that the people you admire most, or the people you admire next, even, um, can meet with you every couple of weeks or something like that. Maybe every week. Every couple of weeks is kind of ideal if you can work it. But find a way to get some of that influence in your life. This thing is a bit of a process, but it's fine that it's a bit of a process because it is so powerful, because it will reshape things that you would probably not have time or energy to reshape manually. It will sneak in there and mold your choices, mold your behaviors, mold your reactions and responses in small ways and large ways, so that you are closer to these people you admire. And it's fine to start small. And if you start big, that's great too. Just know that if you're starting big and you get that, I'm not these people, it's okay to not be these people, to not to feel that imposter syndrome. They weren't the people that they are now all their life either. You admire them for things that they learned how to be and to do. So start the process of being, learning, doing those things. I hope you have a wonderful day. And I hope you make choices that are right for you, the right size. And just know that it's okay to be a little uncomfortable, to feel a little bit, I'm not quite home here, as you stretch and learn to make new places home. I hope you have a wonderful day. Take care.